It's mock draft season. We're going to be hitting these hot and heavy. And look, I'm just going to do as many of these as possible so I get acquainted with some of the guys the Texans might take. We want offensive linemen, preferably interior offensive linemen, but whatever. John Harris of HoustonTexans.com and Texans Radio indulged us. He gave us Chase Bisontis out of Texas A&M. Let's see. I tried to make this mock as hard on my Texans as it can possibly be, but this one breaks exactly as I wanted. The Texans have two solid starters, Ariante Ursary and Titus Howard in the front five. The question becomes, what position does Howard play? If Bisontis is added in the first round, Howard can step back over to right tackle, which could solve a couple of issues. Either way, this is key. Bisontis is tough, athletic, and a swarmy piece to add to the Texans' improving offensive line. Look, I want a camouflage-wearing, dip-packing, unfrozen caveman type of an interior offensive lineman. I think Chase Bisontis has the potential. Whoa, not you yet. Look, we'll do the interview in a little bit. But he's got the unkempt look that I like, that I go for. But here's, damn it. We got to find the highlights of Chase Bisontis. Chase Bisontis, this is the thing, he's 6'5", but he also is, he's got some shorter arms. So the biggest thing that you wonder and worry about with a guy with shorter arms is, all right, does he make up for it with his hand fighting? And I think he does. He's really aggressive with his hands. He's got a good solid base. He's strong. He's aggressive. You can see right there that the chop and snatch that he does, really good with that. I think sometimes guys with shorter arms in the NFL, it's better if you do that with your hands operating separately instead of having a two-hand punch and a two-hand snatch. That's all stuff that can be learned. The biggest thing, 100% always, when you've got a guy with shorter arms is, all right, does he know how to use those hands like a Mike Tyson? Think of Mike Tyson. Whenever you hear about a guy that's got short arms or has size issues, think of Mike Tyson and how he overcame all of that just by getting upside and being lethal with his hands. I think Chase Bisontis can do that. I know there's some questions about how well he attaches at the second level on run blocking. I think he certainly looks like he has the potential to do all of that, picking up blitzes and everything. He shows promise, doesn't always look like the most polished guy in the world, but part of a very good offensive line. He had college success. So I would feel comfortable with that. The biggest thing that you have to also watch out for whenever we look at all these mock drafts is that as of right now, pretty much everybody has the Texans taking either an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman in the first round. That's all I've seen. And I think that if Love were to fall into the late teens, as I've seen him in a couple mock drafts, I don't think the Texans would be afraid to perhaps I don't think they'd be afraid to trade up and get him. But if you look at the offensive line right now and what it would look like if you had just the guys on the roster, if we go down to Ariante Ursary, then Jarrett Patterson, Jake Andrews, Titus Howard at guard probably, and then Blake Fisher. That's from Texans Jacob. They've got to do some things in free agency and in the draft to take care of this. The Chase Bisontis or Lomu, the offensive tackle that we talked about yesterday, that starts to allay some of those concerns. Being aggressive in free agency obviously could make a big difference. But let's look at that interview of Chase Bisontis before I go watch the Olympics.
This O-line is different than what we've seen in past years. So, I mean, what do you think has made it different?
I just think, Coach Cushion coming in and Coach Elko coming in and just like Coach Klein, like emphasizing that our offense will go where the offensive line goes. So just like practicing harder every play, like even on scouts, like everything matters. And we've seen it, we rushed for 300+ yards. So, we see if the O-line can do what we need to do, then I know our offense will put up points.
Yeah, it looks like a kid that just wants to smash stuff. I'm for him. I'm for Chase Bisontis. Couple of comments here, and I can almost anticipate what they're going to be. Hey, thank you, JB Allen, the Annihilator. I got to get back on more of the members-only content. I apologize, everybody. I don't deserve you. People might not deserve dogs, but I don't deserve you guys. Nick does not have a good track record with lineman selection, which seems to be an issue. The one thing I would say there, big-time construction, I don't disagree with you. Look, we haven't hit it out of the park with a lot of the draft picks. I do think Ariante Ursary is going to be a good offensive lineman. I think there's a lot of potential there. And my biggest concern is all right, or my biggest hope is that now that they have an offensive line coach who's 100% on board with the offensive coordinator, because that wasn't the case with the offensive line coach and Bobby Slowick. Chris Chaucer and Bobby Slowick, I think, didn't quite see eye to eye or have the same philosophy about how to operate a run game. I think Nick Caley and Cole Popovich are 100% on board. So I'm still given time, as I've said on here before. I want the Texans to be aggressive in adding offensive linemen, but I haven't 100% given up on Jarrett Patterson or Juice Scruggs now that they've had a full year with Cole Popovich and Blake Fisher for that matter. I'm not banking on them, but let's wait and see and give it one more year with those guys. I am happy about Ariante Ursary, and we'll see where everything else goes from there. How many rookie O-linemen would you feel comfortable seeing start in week 1? That's an excellent question. Ideally, we saw how it went with Look, I feel good about Ariante Ursary, but Ariante Ursary starting at right tackle in week 1, that wasn't good. I wasn't comfortable with that. Ideally, you'd have one rookie out there and veterans around him that can, pick up the slack and help with the communication and all of that. I don't like it when rookies start next to each other side by side. So we'll see. It's a great question, but it's unfortunately the accurate answer is, man, it depends. It depends on who they draft and are they good and are they ready to play. But I could see both the guys. Chase Bisontis, I could see him starting relatively early. And I think we talked to John about him. I don't think Chase Bisontis is going in the first round in a lot of mock drafts as of right now. I might be wrong on that, but we know how all that changes as the combine and pro days and everything start to shake out. So quick one today. Try to make these draft reactions quick. Chase Bisontis. Thanks, everybody.